We put this presentation together to try to educate first responders on some of the dangers they could encounter around a utility system. We put a lot of protective guards on our equipment to try to keep animals from contacting our system. Of course, it does the animal in, and it takes our customers offline. Animals sitting on top of that transformer tank. Well, that tank has a connection point on it that's wired right to that neutral. And like I told you, the neutral's attached to ground rods on good old Mother Earth. So he's sitting on a dead ground, a dead short. When he leans over, if you would, Derek, take it over to pole number 2, and makes a contact with the mechanical connection on top of the porcelain bushing, that's a dead short. That's going to cause the flash and burn something up. It's going to burn a wire down, it's going to blow a fuse, something like that. Over here back on pole number 1, we've got a little plastic guard, and we have different types. We have them for birds and other animals like that, four-legged animals. He can't make contact with that energized bushing right there. He's sitting on the ground, but that plastic's actually holding him off of that metal portion of the bushing. Now, he still could receive a shock, or it would be uncomfortable to him, scare him off of it, so to speak, but it wouldn't necessarily kill him, and it wouldn't damage our equipment. What we're going to do is simulate this snake actually getting on top of the transformer. This is actually a fairly common thing, also in our underground enclosures. He's going to make a short or a fault here. You're going to hear a fuse blow. It's going to sound like a gunshot. Prepare yourself. It's hot. Okay, we talk a little bit about underground facilities and all the wire that's in the ground now. All the utilities have things in the ground now: gas, water, sewer, electric, cable TV, telephone. We put something up here that's very similar to what we refer to as a dip, or a primary dip, on our system. And it's a high voltage cable attached to an overhead line buried in the ground. That's what runs through these transformers in our subdivisions. There's a number that we're supposed to call in just about every state in this country before you do digging. It's a 1-800 number. They'll come out for free and locate any facilities on your property, whether you're putting in a fence, planting a tree, irrigation, something like that. When that doesn't happen, a lot of times we have damage occur to our system. Derek's going to come do some digging for me. He doesn't believe in calling the 1-800 number. He tells me he seems to be able to find things on his own pretty good. Take a look at his shovel there.
Yeah, I don't need to call mine, so he knows where the wires are.
All right, Ryan, I'm gonna give it to you.
I've been here all my life, man. There's nothing you can run right here. That's where I want to go.
We blew a fuse. Ryan's got us a Mylar balloon there. Has some metal properties built into the material there. We've removed the door in that switch on pole number 3, and we're going to let him use that balloon to bridge that gap and try to carry that current. So focus on the balloon there at the switch. Ready? That was a split second that happened. The damage has been done to your body if you're that link between the voltage and the ground. We talk a lot about trees in our business and our need to keep them trimmed. These right-of-ways are required by law to be trimmed. That's some of the issues that's actually put our transmission systems throughout the country in jeopardy from time to time. For every customer we have that wants a tree trimmed, we have one that doesn't want a tree trimmed. So it's kind of a constant battle and a negotiation to allow us to trim these trees in certain places. We have foresters and people like that that actually promote planting a particular type of tree under a power line if you're going to plant one there. It doesn't grow quite as high, a little easier to trim, things like that. What we're going to do here is simulate a tree that's planted in good old Mother Earth, the best ground we have available. We're going to lean it into the primary phase and see what kind of arc we get at the top. It's hot, Ryan. All right, that's about 11,000 degrees, just like that. All right, let's say the limb is hanging up in the air and somebody walks up there and tries to pull it out, energized power line. Okay, Ryan? That's what they're going to have at their feet or at their hands or both. You know, the wire and whatever's in the wire is not always dancing and jumping around like you see in the Hollywood movies. It's not sizzling and buzzing necessarily all the time. It can be right there, be perfectly quiet. There's no way that you know that it's energized. We've got a metal rod here. Years past we had issues with TV antennas and CB antennas. Not so much those anymore, but sailboat masts and pool cleaning poles. Danny knows of a gentleman that was friends of his father that had an irrigation system. I think he was putting in a well or something, and he had some casing on the back of his truck. It had some bird's nest or something in it, and he stood it up to shake the stuff out of it and stuck it in an overhead conductor and burned himself severely. We're going to lean this over into the primary. Ready, Derek? There's that arc again. And the same thing if you were carrying this rod, cleaning a pool, and stuck it in an overhead conductor. It's hot. You got that again at your feet and your hands. Aluminum ladders. Ryan shares some experiences with us that he actually showed up on the scene of an accident in Howey in the Hills, Florida. It's probably been 7 or 8 years ago now. It started out as a cat on a pole, and then it turned into a person down before he got there. And when he got there, he found a painter had leaned a ladder against a pole, a transformer, and sent his 15-year-old son up the ladder to get a cat off top of the transformer. And it killed the young man. And Ryan says that all the father was doing was walking around on the scene, and his comment was, I wish somebody had told us how dangerous this stuff was. I wish somebody had told us how dangerous this stuff was. So what we take for granted that the general public knows, they do not know. And that's some of the reasons for these type of presentations.